Hello guys, today we are going to the movie review. Movie name is Romeo plus Juliet 1996. Best was Romeo plus Juliet 1996, a bold modern reminiscing of Williams Shopkeepers, a classic tragedy it was. It takes the timeless story of love and conflict and transports it into a vibrant, last-paced contemporary setting blending Shakespearean dialogues with the modern aesthetics, visual styles, and directions. Leonardo's signature flamboyant and energetic visual style is evident throughout the film's features striking costume neon it lit cityscapes and dynamic camera work that create whimsicles and immersive experience. The use of modern locations like Venice Beach and a gritty urban backdrop provide a stark contrast to the poetic dialogues, making the story feels immediate and relevant. Performance Leonardo DiCaprio delivers a charismatic and passionate portrayals of Romeo, capturing the youthful impulsions and vulnerability of characters. Clearing that Juliet is earnest and heartfelt, embodying innocence and lying. The supporting cast, including Jones, Leveraging as Mercury and Harold Premium as Murshid and depth and energy to the film's vibrant lifestyle adaptation and script. The film retains much of Shakespeare's original dialogues, which it delivers with clarity and emotional intensity. Cleverly juxtaposed Elizabeth language with contemporary language and reference, making the dialogues escapable yet poetic. These fusions emphasizing the universality of the themes love, hate, faith, and tragedy. Music and sound. A modern soundtrack features artists like Radiohead, Garbage, and Prince complement and the visuals enhance. The film is intense and rebellious mood. The music amplifies key moment and help bridge the gaps between the Elizabeth text and contemporary audience strength, innovations, visual style, the energetic, the classic story, faithful yet fresh adaptations of Shakespeare's love language, powerful performance by the lead actors, effective use of music to set tone and mood weakness. The frantic editing and stylizing visuals may overwhelm some viewers. Modern setting might detract from some of the original's poetic nouns for purists. The film's fast-paced, sometimes sacrifice characters' development in power of style. Overall impressions Romeo plus Juliet is a drawing and visually stunning interpretations that challenge traditional storytelling method. It celebrates youthful passions, and tragedy with contemporary data, making shopkeepers timeless themes and appealing to generations. Will it is stylish choice made to suit all taste. It remains a landmark example of innovation filmmaking in adapting classical literature. In-depth review of Romeo plus Juliet 1996. Where Leguizamo's Romeo plus Juliet, released in 1996, stand as one of the most audience and innovations adaptations of Williams' Sacabrism timeless tragedy by daring to blend to the poetic language of the board with the modern high-energy aesthetic. Lew Herman's created a film that is both visually arresting and emotionally compelling. This bold interpretations seek to bridge the gap between Elizabethan drama emotionally compelling. This bold interpretations seek to bridge the gap between Elizabethan's drama emotionally compelling. This bold interpretations seek to bridge the gap between Elizabethan drama and contemporary youth cultural crafting, a cinematic experience that is provocative is its poignant visual styles and artistic directions. One of the most striking aspects of Romeo plus Juliet its distinctive visual style. Lew Herman's directions is characterized by fantastic ending, vibrant color palettes, and a candid camera that embraces that the viewers in a plastic world. The film employs a mix of gritty urban landscape, think neon-lit street grafting of covered walls and sick modern theatrical juxtaposed with sacred poetic dialogues. This fusion creates a universe that feels both familiar and otherworldly, emphasizing the timelessness of the story. The costume design further enhance this contrast, blending modern fashions with period-inspired elements. For example, Romeo and later Jacques and Juliet contemporary dress coexist with the Shakespeare's language, reinforcing popular themes of styles. Leonard's direction is characterized by frantic editing, vibrant color, planters, and kinetic camera that immerse the viewers in a pulsating world. The juxtaposed with Shakespeare's poetic dialogues. This fusion creates a universe that feels both familiar and otherworldly, emphasizing the timeless of the story. The costume design further enhances this contrast, blending modern fashion with period-inspired elements. For example, Romeo's leather jackets, second and Julian contemporaries coexist with the Shakespeare's language, reinforcing the film's themes of rising different worlds. The set piece from the Coelian Capulet state to the gritty streets of Verona, which contribute to a palpable sense of palace that is at one contemporary and symbolic performance and characters portrayals. Leonardo DiCaprio portrayals of Romeo is one of the film's highlights. His performance captures with a youthful fidelity to Shakespeare's and script. While the film's setting is contemporary, Turman's adaptation remains remarkably faithful to Shakespeare's original text. The dialogue is delivered with clarity and emotional depth, often resounding powerful against the modern backdrop. The screenplay cleverly integrates slang and colloquial expressions, making more accessible without deleting it. Poetic key speech and monologues are preserved and delivered with vigor, such as Juliet what in names and Romeo. Oh, she dot is the trust to Burns are right. The decision to keep the original text allows the audience to appreciate the poetic beauty of Shakespeare's words while experience a modernized visual aesthetic, soundtrack and music are crucial elements that set Romeo plus Juliet apart is its innovative soundtrack featuring alternate and Rook's artists like Radiohead, Garbage and Prince. The soundtrack escapulates the rebellious spirit of the film's songs such as scheduled exit music for a film emotional raw. It bridges the gap between the Elizabeth dialogues and contemporary sensibility, making the story resonant with modern audience. The use of music during fight scenes, romantic accents, and moment of tragedy enhance their circle effect, themes, and emotional impact. Romeo gradually explore universal themes of love, hatred, and tragedy. The film emphasized the inclusiveness of youth, the destructiveness of entertainment, family rivalry, and the inevitability of faith. The youthful energy and rebellious attitude are playable especially in scenes where Romeo and Juliet defy their families and social expectations. The emotional core of the film lies in the tragic love story despite the stylized visuals. The genuine chemistry between DiCaprio and Diane's ground the story in authenticity. Their performance evoke empathy and heartbreak, making the audience interested in their doomed romance, strength, and innovation. Visual and style innovations, the film food aesthetic redefines what in Shakespeare's adaptations can be, making it visuals unforgettable, faithful dialogue, retaining the original Shakespeare's text presents the poetic integrity of the story, modern relevance, the contemporary setting and soundtrack make the themes accessible to a new generation's powerful performance. The cast delivers passionate and convincing portrayals, adding depth to the stylized presentations. Emotional zones, Christmas, and limitations. With Romeo plus Juliet is widely praised, it is not without its critics. The film's frantic editing and stylized can be overwhelming, potentially distracting some viewers from the emotional stakes. The fast pace sometimes sacrifice characters' development, especially for secondary characters who may feel underexplored amidst the visual spectacles. Purists of Shakespeare may also find the modernized language and settings somewhat jarring, feel it diminishes the poetic nuance of the original text. Additionally, the stylized violence will visually visuals impactful can be intense and may not appeal to all audience. Overall impressions. Romeo plus Juliet is a groundbreaking film that redefines the possibility of the film remains a landmark in cinematic history for its bold, stylized choice and innovative approach. It appeals to viewers to appreciate visual spectacles, emotional intensity, and literature resonance. While it may not satisfy purists or those seeking traditional depths, it undeniably leaves a lasting impression as an energetic impressions as daring, energetic, and emotionally charged details of one of history's greatest love stories. Extensive in-depth review of Romeo plus Juliet 1996 by Leonardo's Romeo plus Juliet stands as one of the most revolutionary and visually arranging adaptations of Williams Shakespeare's classic, ready by daring to fuse Elizabethan's poetic dialogue with a brash contemporary aesthetic. Leguizamo challenges traditional national of period's accuracy and narrative styles, creating a film that is rebellious and passionate as the story is tells. This film is not merely a retelling, it is an impressive visual experience that seeks to advance how Shakespeare can be experienced by modern audience. Aesthetic vision and visual aesthetic. At the core of Romeo plus Juliet is to have a more visual reason. The films employ rapid fire editing, kaleidoscopic colors, systems, and a high stylized mesh and scans that impress viewers in a chaotic, vibrant universe. Every frame fills with energy, reflecting the tumultuous emotions of the characters and the intensity of the story. The modern urban landscape featuring neon signs, graffiti, uh, sleek cars, and contemporary costumes serve as a stark contrast to the poetic language of Shakespeare. This juxtaposition is deliberate, highlighting the university of the themes and making the story accessible to a generation raised on fast-paced visuals and pop culture. The film's use of high contrast, dynamic angles, and cuts creates and frantic rhythm that mirrors the impulsiveness and passion of youth. Sad pieces such as the bustling baroness beast with the cropped street and aggressive king-like fictions evoke a modern tribal conflict. The Capulet missions is rigged to populate set Platons often use bright red splotches and blocks to symbolize love, violence, and adultery, increasing the storytelling with symbolic colors, performance, and characters portrayal. Leonardo DiCaprio portrayal of Romeo is a masterclass. capture Romeo passions, imposing and romantic idealism with conviction. His delivers of Scapius lines is both clear and emotive, allowing audience to feel the depth of Romeo's love and despair. The Coperius experience either physicality make a compelling and relatable hero. Colored dance as Juliet it offers a delighted, resilient portrays Juliet embodies innocent curiosity and a growing defense of her Christmas dance performance is now convincing Juliet's internal conflict as navigates her love for Romeo amidst the chaos of her family's feud. Her chemistry with DiCaprio is palpable, editing emotional sweat to their scams together. The supporting cast elevates the film's virtual Jones Lugan's Martial, its fairy wit and charismatic, delivering some of the film's most memorable lines with motives and capture the Venice pride and vulnerability, emphasizing the destructive nature of their feud, fidelity to Shakespeare's own script, despite the film modern setting, Luhrmann's adapting remains remarkably faithful to Shakespeare's original text. The screenplay presents mass of the poetic dialogues which is delivered with clarity and emotional intensity. The decisions to keep Shakespeare language intact allow the audience to appreciate the richness of the original verse will experience it within a contemporary context. The films employ creative visuals metaphors to underscore key lines. For example, Romeo and famous UPS and vibrant lighting emphasizing the poetic and romantic natures of moment. Dialogues retains his poetic rhythm yet the relievers in modern setting make it more immediate and accessible. Music and sound design. The soundtrack of Romeo defining pictures that enhance its rebellions and emotional tone, featuring alternate rock, electronics, and folk track from artists like Radiohead, Garbage, and Prince. The music captures the angst, passions, and energy of youth songs like Radiohead exit music for a film underscore moments of despair and tragedy with track like harmful by the Cordian and playful romantic tones. The soundtrack's integrations into the film is seamless. Music often spurs used key scales highlighting Their emotional impact, the energetic score during fight scenes amplifies the chose build subtle melodies during ulti moment. Learman's use of music buys the gap between Shakespeare's poetry and contemporary sensibility, making the film themes resonate powerfully themes and emotional depth. Romeo plus Juliet explore themes that remains relevant across centuries, the destructive power of hatred, the impulsive of youth, the invincibility of faith, and transcendent nature of love. The film emphasizing how interest, family, loyalty, and social expectation can lead to ready escapism. The youthful, the youthful passion depreciated by DiCaprio and dance captures an intensity of first love fights, impulsive and all-conquering their love symbolize hope and beauty amid chaos, yet it ultimately doomed by the relentless cycle of violence and hatred. The film also delves into the concept of faith with reference to destiny and intangibility viewers brought out strength and innovations, visual and style innovations. The film's audience aesthetic reinvents its Shakespeare for a modern audience, making classic themes resonant visuals and emotionally faithfulness to the original text, retaining Scapion's dialogues present the poetic integrity of the story, allowing audience to experience the language beauty, modern relevance, the contemporary setting and soundtrack make the themes relevant to youth culture, emphasizing that love and impact conflict are universal emotional impact youthful performance cast bring depth and sensitivity to a story, making the tragedy feel personal and immediate. Cinematic energy, the rapid editing, dynamic cinematography, and vibrant visual create an impressive experience that captures the true passion of youth. Christmas and Christmas and limitations. While the film is widely praised, is it is not youth without it. Christmas and pacing and stylized visuals can something be covering contracting from the emotional score of. For some viewers, the rapid editing may cause viewers to miss subtle notes or become fake artificial in longer viewing sessions. Additionally, purists of Shakespeare's not for work may find the modernized language and setting somewhat jarring of are superficial. Some argue that the visuals axis diminish a poetic depth of Shakespeare's words, leading him to make aesthetic device. Few the film's portraits of violence, gang-like conflict, visual effect can be intense and unsettling, especially from intensity. Views the stylized violence as out aesthetically rendered underscore the destructive consequence of hatred but may prove as overall aggressive, finally thought out and overall impressive. Romeo plus Juliet, 1906, in the undernevels, a landmark in cinematic redemption, breaking convention and redefines what Shakespeare's work can be. Its audacious blend of poetic language, modern aesthetic, and energetic storytelling creates a film that is both a visual feast and an emotionally resonant tragedy. It celebrates the person's youth and tragedy inherent in the story, making it a symbol and compelling for contemporary audience. Uh, in conclusion, with luminous Romeo plus Juliet is a daring, stylized story force that captures that very spirit of youthful love and tragic consequences of immediate. It is celebrate cinema's potentials to revenant and invade classic story making the resonant and maybe the generations. So guys, you telling in comment what do you like this movies and your favorite part in comment. Comprehensive and extensive analysis of Romeo plus Juliet 1996 by Lumens. Romeo plus Juliet is widely regarded as one of the most groundbreaking and visual stunning adaptations of William Shakespeare's classic tragedy. It defines traditional expectations of period authenticity and conventional storytelling by blending the poetic richness of Shakespeare's language with recycled modern aesthetic that flows with energy and passion. This film is not just a retelling; it is an immersive cinematic experience that seeks to bridge the gap between Elizabethan's drama and contemporary youth culture, making Shakespeare's themes assemble relevant and emotionally impactful for a new generations of viewers. Artistic vision styles and cinematic innovations. At the heart of Romeo plus Juliet is a value. Leo Hartman's visionary approach to filmmaking. Lou Hartman's signature style combines rapid fire editing, vibrant color, platinite cinema movement, and high stylized way as scans every shot and careful composed to evoke emotional symbolisms and atmosphere. The film's aesthetic is intentionally over the top yet meticulous crafted, creating a sensory overload that mirrors the tumultuous feeling of young, of love and violent conflict. The costume design further enhance this blending uh, contemporary taste, gangs, color, and exterior coexist seamlessly with Shakespearean dialogue, creating a visual language that communicates rebellion, youthfulness, and emotional intensity. The film used of symbolic colors, bright red symbolizing love and blood, black for depth and despair, adds layers of meanings and visual coherence, performance, and characters dynamic performance in Romeo plus Juliet are visuals in burning this stylized universe to life. Leonardo DiCaprio's portrayal of Romeo is a true force of youthful vulnerability, impulsiveness, and romantic longing. He is expressed as energetic physicality and heartfelt deliveries of Shakespeare's lines make Romeo's relatable and compelling. Protagonist DiCaprio embodies the passionate idealisms of youth, making Romeo's love for Juliet feel immediate and genuine. The supporting cast add depth and pictures to the narrative. John's Leguizamo's Mercury it fiery variety and Christmas take delivering sharp humor and memorable lines with Gusto Harold Renews Maristis is energetic and raw, embodying the rebellious spirit of youth and actor fidelity to Shakespeare's and script adapting. The soundtrack of Romeo plus Juliet is arguably one of the most defining elements of the film. It features attentive and rock track from artistic like Radiohead, Garbage, the coordinates and brings which help to set the rebellious youthful to songs such as Radiohead exit music for a film and garbage. I think I am passionate underscores moment to of despair, passion, and violence, amplifying the emotional resonance. The use of contemporary music not only modernizes Shakespeare's language but also enhances the storytelling, making each sketch more whimsical and immediate. The music during fight sequence, romantic confessions, and moments to tragedy heightens the emotional stakes and impression viewers in the characters experience numerous seamless integrations of soundtracks and visual transform the film into a multi-sensory experience. Themes, symbols, and emotional reasons. Romeo plus Juliet explore themes that are as relevant today as they were in Shakespeare's times. The destructive power of hatred and the imprisonment of youth and individuality of faith and the transcendent nature of love. The film emphasizes how intricate film loyalties and social experience can lead to tragic consequences. The youthful character embody a sense of rebellion, longing, vulnerability. The love between Romeo and Juliet is depicated and powerful, pure, and tragic. Their chemistry and emotional accents evoke empathy and heartbreak. The films capture the intensity of love, of passion, and reckless and consuming within a violent and chaotic world. The motive to face faith is woven throughout with reference to destiny, cure, and the idea that their love is humid from the start. The recurring emergency blood symbolizing love, violence, and death heightens and the tragic atmosphere, strength, and artistic achievement. Visual mastery, the film's innovative visual styles and energetic ending advance cinematic storytelling and make subcable themes with and current poetic fidelity, retaining the original Shakespearean dialogues but preserve the poetic and dramatic power of story, cultural relevance. The modern setting and the soundtrack make the story accessible and relatable to contemporary audience. Performance excellence, the cast passionate performance breathes life into the characters, adding depth and authenticity, emotional depth. Despite its stylized accents, the films capture the profound tragedy of love and loss, resonating deeply with the viewers. Symbolic use of color and light, the strategic use of color and lighting enhance emotional cues and thematic glitches. Christmas and limitations. The Romeo plus Juliet is a celebration for its innovation. It has faced criticisms. The branding, editing, and stylized visuals can sometimes overwhelm viewers, making it difficult to follow the story or connect with the characters emotionally. The rapid pacing may sacrifice some characters' development, especially for secondary characters who often serve as symboli for thematic devices, whether they are usually placed out individually. Purists of Shakespeare's work might find modernized language and setting charming or superficial, feeling that it diminishes the poetic depth of the original text. Some critics argue that the visual access, while striking, can overshadow the narrative's emotional score. The film portrayals of violence, while artistically stylized, is intense and may be unsettling for sensitive viewers. The gang-like conflict and brutal fight scenes contribute to a sense of chaos that, although authentic to the story, themes can be carrying impact and legacy. Romeo plus Juliet has have a significant influence on how Shakespeare can be adapted for modern cinema. Its bold approach has inspired filmmakers and artists to experiment with blending classical literatures and contemporary aesthetic. It demonstrates that Shakespeare's story are timeless and capable of resonating with the new audience thought innovation visual storytelling. The film soundtrack and visual style remains iconic, often cited in disgust of modern uh, Shakespeare's adaptations. It helped to cement Leguizmo's reputation is as a visionary filmmaker capable of pushing artistic boundaries. Final reflection and overall evolutions. Romeo and Juliet is a daring, energetic, and emotionally charged film that remains uh, one of literature's most enduring love story for the moderns. Is its bold aesthetic choice combined with faithful dialogues and powerful performance creates a cinematic experience that is both whimsical and poetic. Thought it may not appeal to everyone, particularly those longing for traditions or period accurate adaptations. It stands as a testament to cinema's capacity for innovations and artistic experimentation. The film's enduring legacy lies in its adaptability to evoke the passions, tragedy, and beauty of Romeo and Juliet story within a contemporary visual stunning framework. It challenges viewers to see Shakespeare's work sought a new lens, one that emphasizing emotional energy and relevance, making it a landmark in both experience and cinematic history. Ultimate in-depth and exhaustive review of Romeo plus Juliet 1996. Juliet's Romeo plus Juliet is a cinematic revolution and audacious remaining of William Shakespeare's timeless tragedy that boldly challenged the traditional notice of period authenticity, narrative styles, and cinematic storytelling by merging Shakespeare's poetic language with the whimsical contemporary aesthetic. Lurman's craft a film that is pro- provocating as it is visually stunning, as emotionally raw as it is intellectually engaging. The film is not merely retelling but an immersive experience designed to captivate modern audience, igniting their passions and deepens their understanding of one of literature's most enduring story, artistic visions, and stylized innovations. At the heart of Romeo plus Juliet lies Baz destructive directionary visions characterized by hyper-stylization, rapid editing, vibrant color in systems, and knight visual language. Every frame is meticulous, crafted tables designed to evoke emotions and symbolism. Luminous aesthetic is an explosive chocolate. The film is setting modern, sprawling urban landscapes serve as a stark convent that contextualize Shakespeare's for a new light, crafting Sikh modern structure and street gang replace the traditional castles and town square, emphasizing that themes of love, hatred, and faith are universal and timeless. The city becomes a character in its own right, a living, breathing, and trying that embodies the conflict and intensity of the story. Costume designs for blurs the lines between past and present. Romeo's leather jacket and jeans, Juliet contemporary dress, can color, and streetwear coexist seamlessly with Shakespeare's dialogue, creating a visual language that speak directly to a modern audience. The tragic use of symbolic color, bright reds for love and blood blanks for death and despair, heightens the emotional impact and thematic depth. Leo Herman's innovations use of visual metaphor, lighting, and camera angles intensifies the storytelling. For instance, the famous Peloponnese is shot with sweeping romantic visuals exposed against a gritty urban backdrop, capturing the contrast between Idealism and realism, the film's signature features motif, the recurring imaginary of blood symbolizing love, violence, and morality, viewing a powerful visual thread throughout the narrative's performance and characters' portrayals. The performance in Romeo plus Juliet are integral to its success, transforming stylized imagery into authentic emotional experience. Leonardo DiCaprio portrayal of Romeo is a tour de force of youthful passion, vulnerability, and impulsiveness. His experience as energetic physicality and the heartfelt deliveries of Shakespeare's lines make Romeo relatable and compelling emotional, the type of passionate conflict he was capturing. The sketch of Shakespeare's romantic hero clearly tells as the supporting cast further elevates the narrative tones. Leguizamo is a very wary and charismatic, delivers memorable lines with sharp humor and bravado. Harold Prince's Mercury is energetic and raw, embodying the rebellious spirit of youth. The actor portraying the Montague and Capulet family exude a mixture of means, pride, and vulnerability, emphasizing the destructive cycles of hatred that fuels the tragedy. Fidelity to Shakespeare's to text and creative adaptations. Despite its modern aesthetic, Romeo and Juliet remains remarkable, faithful to Shakespeare's original text. The screenplay preserves much of the poetic dialogues, which is delivered with clarity, emotions, and intensity. The decision to retain Shakespeare's language despite the contemporary setting underscores the universality and timelessness of the themes. It allowed audience to experience the beauty of the original was with situation it within a relatable modern context. Luminous employs creative visual metaphors that enhance the poetic powers of Shakespeare's world. For example, Romeo's famous declarations of she doth teach the torch to burn bright is shot with vibrant lighting and close-ups, emphasizing the romantic idealism that contrasts with the cryptic urban environment. The dialogue's rhythmic and poetic qualities are preserved, yet delivered with a modern sensibility that make it accessible and immediate. Music score and sound design. The soundtrack of Romeo plus Juliet is one of its most distinctive features, seamlessly blending contemporary music with cinematic storytelling, pictures, alternatives, rock, electronics, and pop songs from artists like Radiohead, Garbage, Coordinates, and Prince. The soundtrack captures the rebellious spirit and emotional depth of the story song, such as Radiohead exit music underscores moment of despair and tragedy, while track like Love Hole by the Guardians and playful romantic tune, the music is carefully integrated into the narratives, painting tricky skins and lightening their emotional impact. The energetic score during fight scenes amplifies and the violence builds up of subtle melodies during intimate moment underscore vulnerability and love. Leo Herman's use of sound designs and music creates a multi-layered auditory experience and since the visual spectacles and making the film themes resound powerfully. The soundtrack not only modernize the story but also elevates it into a cultural phenomenon that appeals to a broad audience. Theme, symbols, and emotional impact. Romeo plus Juliet explored themes that remains profoundly relevant. The motive of faith and destiny permeates the films with echoing refers to invincibility and the curious hand of destiny. Blood emergency symbolizing love, violence, and death serve as a constant reminder of the tragic consequences of hatred and misunderstanding. The film's visual language reinforced the ideal that love and death are intertwined and that faith is inevitable. Artistic and achievement and strength. Visual suspect the film's innovative aesthetics set a new standard for cinematic adaptations, combining visual beauty with thematic depth. Poetic flightly retaining Shakespeare's original dialogue preserves the poetic and dramatic power of the story, enabling audience to appreciate its resonance, modern relevance. The contemporary setting, costume, and soundtrack make the themes assembly and resonate deeply with the youth. Cultural, emotional authenticity, the performance, especially by DiCaprio and dance, bring sensitivity and vulnerability to their roles, symbolism, and thematic depth. The strategic use of colors, light, and images emerging enhance the narrative's emotional and symbolic layer. Cultural impact. The film's mood, aesthetic, and soundtrack have influenced countless adaptations and inspired a new appreciation for success in popular cultural criticisms and limitations. While Romeo plus Juliet is celebrated for its innovations, it has faced valid criticism. The frantic editing follows the narrative or connect emotionally within the characters. The rapid pace may also sacrifice some character development, especially for secondary characters, reducing themes to symbolize thematic figures rather than fully fleshed out individuals. Purists of Shakespeare's work often criticize the modernized language and setting, feeling that they diminish poetic depth and historical. They diminish the poetic depth, historical authenticity of the original. Some viewers may find the visual access destructive of superficial feeling that is overshadows the emotional core of the story. The portrayal of violence and gang conflict, while visually impactful, can be intense and unsettling, particularly for sensitive viewers. The stylized fight scenes and imagery of bloodshed underscore the destructive conjugations of hatred out may be perceived as overly aggressive or gratuitous cultural and cinematic legacy. Romeo plus Juliet has left an indelible mark on cinematic adaptations of Shakespeare's. Its bold blending of classic literature and modern aesthetics demonstrated the Shakespeare's story are adaptable and relevant, capable of engaging contemporary audience. The film soundtrack, visuals, and performance continue to influence filmmakers, artists, and pop culture. It played a significant role in reviving interest in Shakespeare among young audience and prove that a faithful traditional approach is not the only way to present this work. The film's success paved the way for more experiential innovations, adaptation, encouraging filmmaking to think outside the box. Final reflection and overall evaluations. Romeo plus Juliet 1996, a daring, energetic, and emotionally charged cinematic into masterpiece that redefines how success can be experienced on screen. Its audience aesthetics embodies with powerful performance and faithful dialogues, creating a vibrant tapestry of love, violence, and tragedy that continue to resonate while it may not appeal to ultimate in-depth and exhaustive review of Romeo plus Juliet in 1996 because Leonardo Romeo plus Juliet is a cinematic revolution in Education's remaining of Williams Baz Romeo. Shopkeeper's timeless tragedy that boldly challenges traditional notions of period authenticity, narrative styles, and cinematic storytelling by sequence of poetic license with wind circles, contemporary aesthetics, allurements, crafts, film that is provocating as it is visually stunning, as emotionally raw as it's textually nuanced, narrative structure and style. Leguizamo's Romeo plus Juliet rescues the traditional Linus narrative of shopkeepers play instead of options for non-Linus narratives timelines that define the conventions of classical storytelling. This innovative approach serve to heighten the sense of urgency and emotional intensity, underscoring the reckless abandon and impulsive nature of the two young lovers. The film's visual style is symbolic of bold colors, rapid cuts, and bright juxtaposition, conjuring the frantic energy of modern urban titles. The electric soundtrack featuring everything from the cardigan to match the star pursuit enhance the sense of disconnections and discernment, underscoring the character's feeling of alienations and disconnections. Performance Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Dance delivers performance they are captivating as they are announced, imbuing their characters with a depth and complexity that transcend and the confines of the origins. Cooperative Romeo is brooding, engaged youth is eyes burning with fierce intensity as he pours out his heart in Shakespeare's famous balcony solitude. Dance kaleidoscope of colors, the chemistry between the two lead in unbelievable their romance burning with fires all consuming passion that is captivating as its heartbreaking characterizations and themes. Leonardo's Romeo plus Juliet is a film that viewers heart on its sleeves. Each character is driven by a desire for love, acceptance, and belonging, and the film's explorations of the destructive nature of hate and the redemption power of love it is as timely and as it's timeless, underscoring the enduring relevance of escapism themes and the modern world. The characters of Mercutius, played by Jones Leguizamo, is a particular highlighting his whimsical humor and streetwise attitude inspires a more dose of levity into the film's otherwise somber proceeding. The characters of Tybalt, played by Jones Leguizamo's real-life brother Harold Bridge, is for formidable presence. His menacing energy and rather sharp, making him a compelling adversary for Romeo. Cinematography and productions design. The film cinematography, courtesy of Donald M.C. Alpine, is a Winsor Fist capturing the sleek, high-gloss aesthetic of modern Smyrna with a keen eye for details. The city to where the sky, percept and labyrinthine streets become characters in their is a masterclass in visual storytelling, conjuring a world that announced familiar character in their own right, a living, breathing entire that pulsates with energy and life. The production design updated by Catherine Martin, class in Dream Circle, conjuring a world that is it once familiar and yet utterly aligns the film. The used location shooting and practical effect adds to its sense of authenticity. Grounding the film is a world that is both vibrant and decaying. Influence and legacy. Lou Herman's Romeo plus Juliet has had a profound influence on contemporary cinema innovations, styles, and narrative structure, influencing generations of filmmakers. The film's use of non-linear storytelling and electric soundtrack has become a hallmark of modern filmmaking, influencing everything from the Mark to Inceptions. The film's explorations of themes such as love, hate, and redemption has also resonated with the audience around the world. Semitic status as a classic of modern cinema as a cultural touchstone. Romeo plus Justin continue to inspire and new generation of filmmakers, actors, and audience alike. Conclusions. Leonardo Romeo plus Julia is a film that defines categorizes a cinematic revolution that challenge traditional notions of period authenticity and narrative style with its innovation, storytelling, bold visuals, aesthetic, and embodied raw performance. The film is a triumph of modern cinema, a testament to the enduring power of Shakespeare's themes in the modern world. Whether you are die-hard Shakespeare or a film of Romeo plus Juliet, is a must-see experience that will leave you breathless and hearing more for more as a cultural touchstone, a cinematic landmark, and a work of art that continue to inspire and influence new generation of filmmakers and audience alike. Documents Julian's image an unforgettable experience that will continue to delight and disturb for generations to come. The most extensive, in-depth, and comprehensive review of Romeo plus Juliet 1996 was Leonard's Romeo plus Juliet 1996 stand as one of the most bold, emotion and visuality arresting adaptations of Williams Shakespeare's classic tragedy. Our profound produce to for the screens. This film is not merely retelling but a radical reinvention and audience cinematic experiment that fused the boundaries of traditional storytelling, blind modern aesthetics with Shakespeare's poetic language to create a whimsical emotional Such experiences that continue to resonate across generations. Artistic vision, style choice, and directional approach. AI, the core of Romeo plus Julia, is Baz Luhrmann's inimitable direction style and an energetic, flamboyant, and highly stylized approach that combines hyper real visuals with a fast paced editing style. Luhrmann's vision is to make escapes accessible and compelling for a contemporary audience by sessions the timeless story within a modern urban landscape. The film achieves the traditional period styling of Elysium. The film achieves the traditional period setting of the Elizabethan era, replacing if it with a fictionalized city that feels like a hybrid of Los Angeles, New York, and other metropolitan areas, replaced with the neon lights, graffiti, slick skyscrapers, and gritty alleys. This setting not only modernize the story but also universalize its themes: love, hate, violence, and faith-making themes relevant to global youth cultural. Urban aesthetic is characterized by vibrant color blends, vibrant color palettes, bright red, stark blacks, laminate metallics that visually symbolize the intense emotions and themes of blood pressing and death. The use of rapid cut, dynamic camera movements, and theatrical lighting heightens the visual impact, creating a sensory overload that memory mirror the chaotic energy of teenage rebellions. Cinematographer and productions designs Ronaldo MC Alvine's cinematographer is a key element in creating this dynamic visual universe. Creating the Martin's production design is meticulous, crafted, blending slick contemporary architecture with symbolic visual motifs. The audio the use of contrast, light and darkness, blood and innocence reinforce the film's central themes. Blood in particular is preserves spatters across walls following in fountain and dripping from characters bound serve as a wonderful visual metaphor for love, violence, and morality. Costume and music, a fusion of past and present. The costume seamlessly blend modern streetwear with the subtle notes of Shakespeare's costume, creating visual dialogues. in Curry and pins. These tracks are and prints. This track are integrated into the key skins, hiding their emotional resonance and anchors the story framing within a modern cultural context. For example, Radiohead exited music for film underscored the tragic ending will reinforced by the Cardiff's heads the playful yet film underscored the Guardians and the playful yet tender touch of joy for innocence, Lion's skillful use of sound, designs blending digesting and non-digesting elements creates a layered auditory experience that implies the emotional stakes and impressive viewers fully. The energetic physicality and heartfelt delivery breathe life into Shakespeare's poetic lines, making Romeo's passions fellow poets declare as Juliet is equally contemplating her portrayal of innocence, curiosity, and defiance elevates the characters bind mere love. Intense the chemistry between DiCaprio and Dance is electric. Their sketch together most notably the balcony scenes are raw, tender, and heartbreaking, convincing a love that is as intense as it is tragic. John Leguizamo's miracle is a standout, embodying with the humor and rebellions inspire his lively performance, inject humor and levity into the story while also serving as a critique of violence and social expectations. Harold presumes a high world exclude means and pride embody the destructive force of hatred and violence. Supporting characters such as the nurse and Freya Laws is but add depth and complexity to the narratives. Their performance ground the story emotionally, highlighting themes of guidance, betrayals, and loss, fidelity to Scipio's and creative adaptations. Despite its modern setting, the film remains remarkably faithful to Shakespeare's original text. The screenplay adapted by Lew Hermans and Craig Pearce preserves much of the original dialogue delivers with clarity and emotional sincerity. The decisions to retain Shakespeare's Language emphasizes the universality and poetic essence of the story, while the visuals and auditory elements make the dialogues accessible and engaging to contemporary viewers. Recommend employing creative visuals, metaphor that enhance the poetic powers of Shakespeare's world. For example, Romeo's declarations of say doth teach the task to burns bright is not shot with vibrant lighting and close-ups, emphasizing the romantic idealism that contrasts with the gritty urban environment. The dialogue's rhythmic and poetic qualities are preserved yet delivers with the modern sensibility that makes it accessibility and immediate themes, symbols, and emotional resonance. Romeo plus Juliet explored themes that are relevant today as they were in Shakespeare's time. This include the destructive power of hate, the impulsive of youth, and the invincibility of faith, and the redemption's nature of love. The film's portrayal of love is passionate and idealistic yet tragic, emphasizing its fleeting and fragile nature in a world rife with violence. The intimate moment to life is the first sight of Romeo. Their secret meeting, the poignant death scenes are shot with tenderness and sensitivity, making their love for beautiful and heartbreaking. Blood imagery recurs throughout the film, symbolizing love, violence, and death, and serving as a visual motif that underscores the inexorable eh, link between life and death. The recurring motif of faith, highlighted by represents to destiny, the stars, and individual strategy remind viewers of the incapable nature of the character destiny, artistic achievement, and impact. Romeo plus Juliet is a groundbreaking film in terms of its visual style, narrative approach, and cultural impact. Its innovative use of aesthetics and sound has set a new standard for cinematic adaptations of classic literatures, demonstrating that Shakespeare's work can be relevant, executive, and accessible when examined boldly. The film's influence extends beyond cinema. It has inspired fashion, music, and pop cultures. Its iconic imagery, bloodstains, street news, Balcony's passionate performance has become a part of modern visual lexicon, criticisms and limitations. While the film has widely praised for its boldness and innovations, it was not without criticism. Some pursuits felt that the modernized language and setting diminished the poetic depth of Shakespeare's original work. Others argues that the frantic editing styles were excessive, sometimes overwhelming the narrative, making it difficult to follow or emotionally connect with the characters' inner lives. Additionally, the stylized violence, while impactful, could be seen as excessive or resistance poetically alienating viewers sensitive to graphic imagery. The film's rapid pacing might also sacrifice characters' development and nuance, reducing some secondary characters to mere symbols, cultural and cinematic. Like Romeo plus Juliet remains a landmark as in cinematic history. Its daring plans of modern aesthetic and classic literature challenged convincing and proved that Shakespeare's themes are internally relevant. Its influence can be seen in subsequent adaptations such as Leonardo's Owen the Great, Gatsby, or modern films that incorporate stylized hybriding and genre blending. The film revitalized interest in Shakespeare among youth, young audience, and demonstrate the classic stories can be told anew within style, energy, and emotional authenticity. It continue to inspire filmmakers, artists, and audience worldwide, cementing its palace as a cultural and artistic milestones. Final reflections. In conclusions, Leonardo's Romeo plus Juliet, an audience visually stunning and emotionally compelling film that redefines what an adaptation of Shakespeare can be. Its innovative use of aesthetics, its fidelity or to the original text, and its powerful performance creates a multi-sensory experience that is both exhilarating and heartbreaking. While it may not appeal to all purists is or traditionalists, its boldness and creativity have checkered it legacy as a modern classic. It stands as a testament to the enduring relevance of Shakespeare's work and the film timeless possibility of cinematic storytelling for anyone seeking a film that combines art, lessons, and innovations is equal measure Julian is an unforgettable journey and impressive experience that continue to captivate and inspire across generations. most exhaustive, in-depth and complete review of Romeo plus Juliet 1996 by Leonardo. Romeo plus Juliet 1996 is not just a film, it is an audacious cinematic performance that redefines how classic literature can be reinterpreted through the lens of modern visual language and contemporary culture. It stands as a bold testament to the transformative form of film as an art form capable of bringing uh, centuries spanning realism, Shakespeare's poetic genre. Genius film within the whimsical energy of 1990s youth culture. This review aims to leave two stones unturned, discussing very elements of the films from its thematic core to its stylized voice, performance, cinematography, soundtrack, cultural impact, and beyond. Prepared for a lengthy, detailed examination that celebrates the film innovation and critically explores its nuanced historical and cultural context. Romeo plus Juliet emerged during the mid 1990s, a period marked by resurgence of interest in youth cultural alternative music and visual experimentation in cinema. The 1990s were characterized by a blending of high art and folk culture, with filmmakers increasingly willing to challenge traditional storytelling norms. Leonardo already known for his film, flamboyant styles and love of spectacles, sought to create a film that would appeal to new generations while capturing the timeless of Shakespeare's themes. His visions want to make the play presentable, relevant, and emotionally impactful, transitioning the contrasting of historical period settings. The film release coincident with the broader cultural shift, youth rebellions, techno and grunge music, the rise of MTV, unpredictable or modern urban life. This approach aligns with the postmodern storytelling practice where conventions chronology gives way to dynamic visuals and thematic juxtapositions. The film's narrative is punctuated by rapid montage sequence, flashbacks, and dreamlike interludes that serve to heighten emotional stakes while emphasizing themes of late improvements and violence. The structures mirror the tumult of Ed Solo, reckless, passionate, and often cognitive. The screenplay adapted by Lou Hellman Craig presents Shakespeare's original dialogues, but the deluge is infused with contemporary slang and items, making the poetic language more worldview relevant. Even the world of neon light and state gangs, visual style and cinematic technique. Leguizamo's digital visual style is arguably the film's defining feature. The film is a kaleidoscope of color, texturing, and dynamic camera movement that evoke the house beauty and vulnerability of urban life. Color palettes films employ a saturated high contrast color palette widely reds symbolizing bloods artificially